Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Mac de la Cruz with Proyecto por la Familia de Arizona, bringing you resources and information once again. And today, we have a very special guest, Mayra Rodríguez, who will be talking to us about her story and also about a very important ballot measure that we will see in our ballots in the month of November. So, Mayra, thank you so much.
Macario, thank you.
Yes, it's always good to talk to you and hear about your story. I don't get tired about hearing your testimony. I think it's a story that people need to hear because it shows the reality, what we're fighting against. And a lot of people don't realize that. So can you talk to us a little bit, for those who do not know who Mayra Rodríguez is, can you talk to us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, well, what can I say? There's no more important time to wake up our fellow Christians, right? Our community to what's going on. And I felt very close to it because I was one of those persons, right? For many years, Macario, I defended the reproductive rights. I defended the right for women to kill their children. Obviously, I didn't call it that, right? I call it the right to own their own body. I call it the right to be on top of whatever she wanted to. And for 16 years, I promoted birth control and preventive care to these women, thinking in my head that I was preventing abortions too, right? That I was helping women decide when to have children. This is while I was working for Planned Parenthood. Now, as an immigrant who came from Mexico, my community was really important. I wanted to help my Latino community, and I was hired for that. They make sure that when I was hired, it was that I spoke Spanish so I could go into the Latino community and liberate women, right? That's one of the things that I get groomed on. They grew me into thinking that my Hispanic, Latino, immigrant women needed to be liberated and free from the kitchen and their husbands because they're forcing them to have children, multiple children, right? And that's what I came to the communities to do, to tell women, hey, you know that you don't have to have children every time your husband gets you pregnant. You can have an abortion and hide it from him. You can use birth control and hide it from him. He doesn't own you. Now that I'm in a different part of my life, I understand how wrong it is to tell a wife to hide things from their husband, right? The good advice is to have wives speak to their husband, come to a common ground and a common decision, because that's what God wants from us, to be one flesh, right? But I was advising my own women to do the opposite, right? I was advising them to go against their husband, to hide things from their husband. I mean, what kind of a good organization that cares for women advises that, right? The exact opposite of having a good family, a good marriage. So, moving forward, I become the director of the abortion facility after working there for 16 years. And that's when my reality changed. And you see, it's very easy to promote abortion. It's very easy to be for abortion when you have no clue what abortion really means. This is what I like to tell people. It's very easy for you to say you're for abortion when you're not the one being dismembered, right? It's very easy to say, oh, I'm for abortion when you don't know what abortion smells like, what abortion looks like, right? And why do I say that? Well, for many years, I just told you I promoted abortion. I was really good at selling abortions, right? I was really good at making sure that woman understood that the best thing for her was to terminate her pregnancy.
You were a freedom champion. I mean,
Yes.
that's the lie that they were selling you, right?
Yes.
You were a freedom champion liberating the Latino community.
The women, the feminists, right? Like making sure they get empowered, right? And they fulfill their dreams, right? Until I become the director in the abortion facility in Glendale, Arizona. The biggest abortion facility that we had. And what I say that 6 days a week doing abortions, right? 40 to 50 women a day, right? And what changed my heart and mind? Well, I saw the reality of abortion. And what do I mean by that? Women were getting hurt. There were women that were getting perforated on abortions. And what does that mean? Well, it means that sometimes the abortionist, most of the time he doesn't know what he's doing because he can't really see. And he will go too far without noticing and perforating organs, right? And damaging their organs. And I witnessed that and I call out for that. And I call out for the abortionist not following rules and regulations in our state. And I call out that he wasn't following the law. And I call out that they will not notify when a minor was impregnated by adult to the authorities, right? And I start calling out of all these atrocities. And in my head, Macari, I'm like, Planned Parenthood is to protect women. I mean, there's law and it's scared no matter what. So when I speak about this abortionist, Planned Parenthood is going to jump on it and do something about it and get him fired, right? Or remove him, or at least talk to him and tell him, hey, what's going on here, right?
Yes, because you were seeing this. You were seeing how women were being hurt, right?
And the employees were too, because, Macari, one thing people need to understand, I wasn't in their room. I was the director. I'm sitting in my office, so someone else came with these complaints, correct? It wasn't just me. It was other employees coming forward. Mayra, he did this. Mayra, he did that. It was me receiving notification faxes, medical records from emergency rooms where women showed up with perforated uterus that they had to be repaired at the emergency hospital, right? And I'm coming to him and, hey, we got this. I'll take care of it. And then I will call my supervisor and don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. Don't worry about it, right? And that's all I kept hearing. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, all the staff members that had been with the abortion site for longer were like, Mayra, don't say anything. If you speak up, you'll get fired. Mayra, they get rid of whoever goes against the abortionist. And I was like, I don't care. Here I was thinking, I've been here for 16 years. I got the Employee of the Year award. You know, I'm probably going to get another Employee of the Year award. And they're going to see that I'm doing the right thing and he's doing the wrong thing. And they will take care of this, because naive Mayra is still thinking that Planned Parenthood cares for women, right? So then when I brought this up, they were going to do something about it. They didn't, Macari. They didn't do anything about it. Instead, I got fired.
Well, they did something about it, but it's not what you were expecting.
Not what I was expecting.
So what happened?
Well, you know, after my last complaint, which it was when the abortionist forgot, and this is so important. This part of my testimony is what most people call my that's it, my drop. You know, the last drop. He forgot the head of a baby of a 14-week. And why do I bring that up? Because as you know, we're going to talk about a proposition that legalizes those abortions furthermore, right? And the way that abortions happen after 12 weeks is through dismemberment of babies, which that means they rip their baby parts. They bring the legs out, the torso, the arms, and the head, right? And then they make a puzzle in a room on a little glass dish, like literally a pie glass dish, okay? And they put together the puzzle of the baby. They make sure there's a head, 2 arms, a torso, 2 legs, the feet, right? That we're not missing anything. Why? Because if we are missing a part of the baby, that means it could be inside the mother. She could go on septicemia, she could go on sepsis and die, right? So that's why they make sure of that. And this is what I say, it's very easy to support abortion when you're not the one piling up babies in Ziplocs and putting them in a trash bag to be cremated with medical waste. And that's in our state, that it's still not allowed to traffic those baby parts. The states like California, New Mexico, Illinois, where they are allowed to traffic those baby parts and sell them to the labs or pharmaceutical companies, well, those babies get zipped in different bags and they sent to those labs, right? So this scenario was a 14-week baby and a 19-year-old girl that was having an abortion, and they couldn't find the head. So the assistant came into my office and said, Mayra, I already told him I can find the head. He's moving on. He already inserted an IUD, which is a copper T they insert on women. And they do it sometimes after the abortion. And then, and I don't know what else to do. I know he will fire me for coming up and telling you, but I'm very worried. Macari, I'm talking about a girl that was just a medical assistant. She had no medical knowledge like he did. She was not a doctor. She had no medical license. She's just a medical assistant that was assisting him, but she understood the gravity of forgetting the baby head and not being able to find it. So she goes, I said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I go to the back. I pretend that I was with her looking for it, right? And then I go on and tell him, you're not done. We're missing the baby head. And he just looks at me like I'm a bother. I mean, we didn't get along very well. and he says, go find it in the trash. Like some sort of, like, you already have hundreds of baby in trash, go find a head there, right? And that, it's something that really woke me up. The fact that he was referring for a baby head, a human head, as trash, and he didn't care for that 19-year-old, the mama bear came out of me, because I'm like, that could have been my daughter, my neighbor, my niece, someone related to me, close to me, and she can die from this, right? And just to mention that the 10 months that I was the director of the abortion facility, Mac, they were the hardest for me. I didn't sleep. Every night, I would watch my work phone thinking that I will get a phone call that a woman was dying. And that kept me up at night. Because as a director, I get the phone calls when someone calls after hours, right? So it always kept me up at night. I can tell you today with honesty that there were the 10 worst months of my life directing an abortion facility. Because people deny that there's trauma from abortion, but there's not only trauma on the woman that decided to do the abortion workers have trauma after that too. I mean, they have compared the trauma of abortion workers like the PTSD from an army. And I'm not comparing our lives with people who have fought for us for our freedom. I'm just saying the fact that we see all these babies pile up in black.
The levels of stress.
That we have to put them in a red bag. Mac, before I was like, oh yeah, they go and they cremate them, right? But now I'm signing. Now it's like, oh, Mayra Rodríguez signed up for me to take 200 babies and cremate them with medical waste. That's different, right? That's something that plays a toll on you, in your soul, in who you are, in your character, right? And now there's the life of a girl, the 90-year-old. I work for this organization protecting women, working to fight for women, right? That's what I thought I was doing, that I was caring for them, that I was there being supportive of them, of their rights. That's not what they are for, because he didn't care. He was ready to go home because it was a Sunday. And I was being in the news to him, like this bothered person coming up and saying, you're not done, right? Well, long story short, 3 days after that, we argued. Well, he did repeat the abortion. He removed the IUD, found the head inside the girl. So they were right. The head was inside that 19-year-old. And she could have died if she would have gone home. And he falsified the patient chart because he never put in there what happened. He actually put in there abortion done without complication, which he liked to do that a lot. And 3 days after that, a few days after that, I got fired. You know, I was like, hey, Mayra, well, you were gone last week. We found some stuff in your desk, so you're fired. And I was like, oh, how convenient. Okay. You know, and I always make a joke that they say we found narcotics. I'm like, oh, yeah, the Mexican having narcotics. That's a good one, right? So I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? But thanks to the people on the sidewalk, they helped me find my lawyer. You know, actually, we made up with Kathy from CAP at her office, and we were sitting down brainstorming, what can we do, when can we do, and she drew up my lawyer's name, Tim Casey, and that's how we got to Tim Casey, call him, and then he decided to take on my case. I sued Planned Parenthood in the state of Arizona. I won in 2019, but then I won. Why did I win? Look at us now. Why did I win? You know, I have not won anything if they continue to do business as usual, and that's why I'm in this battle.
And you bring up such a great point, and I want to swing back to that, okay? This organization, Planned Parenthood, this is the organization that is behind a lot of things, and people don't know this. And you educated me, honestly, about how powerful it is, not only here in the U.S., because many times we associate this as a U.S., you know, as an American problem, issue, but you really opened my eyes about how much power they have globally. And you recently came back from India. I mean, like, so you see those battles happening in other parts of the world. But what I want to bring up is this organization, Planned Parenthood. How powerful are they?
Well, I mean, when you know their bigger donors are Soros and Bill Gates, they're powerful, right? And one thing I always tell people is that International Planned Parenthood Federation, which is the global organization of Planned Parenthood, we are their biggest donors. 50% of their income comes from American taxpaying dollars to kill babies globally, right? They're very powerful. They are behind every legislation pro-abortion in almost every country in the world. If they're fighting for abortion, Planned Parenthood's behind it, right? And they are behind many of our propositions that are going in our ballots in our states, in the United States too. They have a lot of money, and they are not for women, and they are not a non-profit. How they have gotten away with a non-profit status still shocks me and beats me. I actually would like their business strategy to apply it to any of our businesses, because that's smart and genius that they continue to be called a non-profit when they make so much money out of babies and women.
And this is the organization that groomed you as a young Latina to go and sell this lie to our communities. And then once you find out what was really happening and spoke up, they're the ones that said, Mayra, see you later, bye-bye.
See you later, and we are going to deport you. They were ready to shut me down so my lawsuit could be thrown away to send me back to Mexico. So they threatened a lot, even though they hired me knowing that I was undocumented. They did, Mac. I never lied to them. They had all my Mexican documentation. They knew I was an immigrant. They knew I had come from Mexico in the 90s, and I started working for them in 2000. So they knew that. And they were still very quick and ready to every time they can mention it, she could be just deported tomorrow. And then, so I know they were counting on something like that, and it didn't work out for them. But what I'm trying to get to the point is that this is the organization pro-immigrant, pro-women, and they didn't care about me. They didn't care about the 19-year-old that was being put in danger with that abortionist, or any of the other women that I reported being perforated, right? Why? Because the reality is they come in today, they do the abortion, we don't even see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Sayonara. Goodbye. Have a nice life, right? We have done our business with you. It's not like the women that have multiple abortions don't come back to the same center. So we don't get to see them again. So it's like we're done with them, right? They don't offer any other help to women, right? If the woman wants to continue her pregnancy, she's given a list. Oh, okay, here's a list. Go find them, If she wants to do an adoption program, oh, here's a list of organizations that can help you. Go find them on your own, right? So they're offering other options than abortion. That's all they offer. That's all they sell. And that's all they interested on, right? So to me, all these propositions are to protect the Planned Parenthood business as usual, but not only to protect Planned Parenthood far and beyond their business, but protect them even from lawsuits like mine, Mac, which is what has me so shocked on how people allowed this, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to, that's the awareness that we're trying to raise today, is letting people know that anything that this organization, Planned Parenthood, is behind is probably not good. And one of the things that we want to talk about is this ballot measure amendment, because they are the ones that are behind this amendment, right?
Yes, they are.
And people need to know this. This is where where the money is coming from. This is who is supporting this, and we said it. We had an interview, and people can go check it out. We had that interview a few months back when we were talking about what's coming to Arizona, and sadly now it's a reality. But people don't realize that when they were signing those petitions, that's what they were signing. They were allowing this organization to work without any restrictions,
Yes.
any oversight. That's what the amendment is, basically.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Now it has a number. Now it has a name. What is that proposition?
139, which, to us, it reminds me of Psalm 139, right? And I think God did this, and it's a hope that it has given me hope, right?
Remember that. Proposition 139 is an attack on Psalm 139. And can you tell us a little bit about that amendment,
Yes.
what it is?
Definitely. So the first thing that strikes me is this, Mac. People should ask this. Why? Okay. Did you know that abortions are already legal in Arizona up to 15 weeks? And why?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that.
They don't know that because they've been lied to. Because
that's the
when
reality.
they were getting the signatures, they were telling them lies. They were telling them, oh, there's no abortions happening because they made abortions illegal. And that's not true. Abortions, whether we like it or not, are legal in the state of Arizona up to 15 weeks. When you talk about an abortion up to 15 weeks, I describe you a 14-week abortion. There's no other way to do abortions up to 15 weeks. Can you imagine it beyond 15 weeks? Now, let's break that down. An abortion after 15 weeks, which is what this proposition is trying to legalize, right? When it says past the viability, it means up to 9 months, right? It doesn't mean there's a stop on it. There's no limit on it. And it doesn't need to be an excuse. They're trying to tell people it's for the life of a mother, right? By the way, never has a woman needed an abortion to save her life. The medical term is early delivery, and that's when they try to save both of them, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, baby is too small to survive, but they attempted to help that baby. Not like what we're seeing now with propositions like this, that babies won't be helped because they will be killed, right? And it will happen through dismemberment of this baby. It takes 3 days for an abortion after 18 weeks to be done. So if it's an abortion after 24 weeks, it will take 3 days for that abortion. What kind of treatment saves the life of a person in 3 days? So the woman's bleeding now, and then, oh, okay, well, your abortion can be complete in 3 days. No, that's not true. You know, women still now, if their life's at risk, have access to an early delivery. They still do. So that's one of the biggest lies the other side has done to women. The women are dying because there's no help. The ectopic part. They have told them that if there's an ectopic pregnancy, they cannot get any help because abortions are banned. First of all, abortions are not banned in Arizona. They're legal up to 15 weeks. We're going to repeat that a lot so people can understand that. An ectopic pregnancy has never been an abortion. Every state, every city, every country has the legal and protected way for those women to have a treatment for an ectopic pregnancy because their lives are at risk and that baby won't survive in an ectopic pregnancy, right? Miscarriage. They're telling women that they won't have access to miscarriage. That's not true. Miscarriage treatment has always been available. If you face a doctor that tells you, oh, I'm scared to do a treatment for miscarriage because I don't know about the law, that's a bad doctor. Get out and go with a good doctor because no one should deny you the treatment for miscarriage because that's legal. And again, still, abortions, whether we like it or not, are legal up to 15 weeks in the state of Arizona. So why a Proposition 139 wants to legalize beyond that point? Why do they find the need to do that? Follow the money. I always like to say that to people. Follow the money.
Yes, because that's one of the things that I remember from our conversation. You said this ballot measure is to protect the abortionists and also to give the abortion industry a blank check.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe talk to us. What does that mean?
Well, if you read part of the Proposition 139, it says that it will be very hard to regulate them. One, it's enshrined in our Constitution, right? It removes the regulations that we have in place, right? It regulates that industry, meaning that they can do whatever they want. Cases like mine won't even make it to court because I'm basically, what the proposition says, I'm speaking against abortion, right? Even though I'm speaking against the abortionist, what he's doing. You know, I'm speaking against abortion. So another thing is that one, it's enshrined in the Constitution. Our legislators, you know, if a lot of cases like the one I described, right? We had in place a legislation that said that we actually still have in place that they have to count the baby parts. The reason why the staff were counting baby parts is because it was a law in Arizona. It's a legislation that says that the abortionist cannot say the abortion's complete unless he himself makes sure that every part is accounted for on that baby, right? And I just told you he was breaking that law. He didn't care. He signed that paper without even checking if he had everything there, right? So that's one of the things like that won't be able to happen anymore. Our legislators, literally their hands will be tied. They will not be able to put any legislations or any laws to regulate this industry. That is not protecting women. That is protecting the abortionist and removing any protection for that woman, any right for her to sue him. And Mac, it's already hard to sue the abortion industry. Can you imagine once they have literally an open door to do whatever they want? Because on top of it, they don't even require a licensed doctor.
Yes, that's one of the other things that we stress with this ballot measure. I mean, it does not include the word doctor anywhere. What does that mean?
Well, for the longest we heard from the other side saying, this is between a woman and a doctor. And now they remove doctors out of it. Like, you don't have to be a doctor to do abortions, right? And what do they want with this? They want that only anyone with a licensed healthcare, which that's a nurse, right? And a lot of us trust a nurse. Yes, there's a lot of good nurses, but they still are not medical doctors, right? There's a reason why. They're nurses and there's medical doctors. And it could be anyone, could be a chiropractor, right? Anyone could perform abortions. A vet could perform abortions. He's a healthcare, right? So estheticians that have healthcare licenses to do Botox could perform abortions. Like, this is opening a window for that industry to be just done anywhere. And this is the same side that wanted to not have any back alley abortions, but now they want the same back alley abortion styles by having anyone do abortions because you no longer need a doctor.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, or those are many of the reasons why we are talking in opposition to this ballot measure. But Mayra, what can people do? People that are listening to us, what can we do? What is it that we need to do?
The first thing we're asking people is, please, if you're a U.S. citizen in this country and you have a duty, which is to vote. I just became a citizen last year.
Congratulations.
I'm very excited that I will be voting this year, right? As a new citizen, I have a duty, and that is to protect. And the duty to protect means to protect women, to protect babies, to protect our communities, right? Especially the Latino. We cannot hide away from the fact that 44% of the abortions done in Arizona are Latinos, and that they're targeting our Latino community, right?
Yes, you mentioned that the biggest facilities, the biggest abortion facilities are close to or located in the middle of heavily Hispanic communities.
Correct. So as Hispanic, as Latino, I'm called to protect my community and my people. This is something I tell Latinos. I said, imagine if we would not be killing our babies in the womb, we will no longer be a minority in this country, right? But the same organizations that are non-discriminatory and racist are the ones that just push the minorities to kill their babies, right? And then they're always pushing, oh, Hispanics need abortions. No, Hispanics don't need abortions. I love having large families. That's who we are. Stop telling us Latinos that having large families is something bad for our communities. It's not. But going back to the point, right? They're targeting our community. So what people need to do, especially parents, Mac, the Hispanic parents, especially those who comes from immigrants, we know that our parents gave everything for us, that when we came to this country for that American dream, it's for a better life for our children. So we care for our kids. And this measure removes their parental consent. So if you are a parent and you can vote in the United States, you need to register to vote and vote no against Proposition 139. Protect your parental rights, because that's what this is about. It removes your right as a parent to give permission for your daughter to have an abortion. And I don't know many parents that are bad parents and are not protective of their daughters. I know a lot of good parents. The majority of parents want to protect their children.
Yes, and I think that's a clear message, Mayra, that we need to continue to drive in our communities. We need to, those who are able, who have that ability, need to register to vote, and they need to vote no on Proposition 139. And we need to spread that message. We need to talk to our children, and we need to talk to our children's children about this. Because if we don't address it,
I mean, again, Mac, this proposition is to protect the rapist, to protect the abuser. The only women I remember not having their parents next to them in an abortion facility were young girls that someone else had impregnated them, an adult, or they were being trafficked. This is what people need to understand. Like, when they want to try to remove your parental rights from something, it's to protect what? It's not to protect your daughter. It's to protect the abuser.
And people need to know this. That's what this ballot measure would do. It would protect the abortionist. It would protect the sex offender. And it would not protect women and girls. And so that's the reason why we're sitting here. And we're saying to you, if you are listening, please register to vote and vote no on Prop 139. And please help us spread the message. Like this video, subscribe, and share it. We will continue to speak on this.
And let's remind them when is voting day, November 5th. And early voting starts October 9 in Arizona, so get registered to vote. We still have time to register to vote. You still have time to get your ballot early. We can still, and you have questions, we have many information, many sites that can help you, right?
Exactly. Yes, we will have that information. So please connect with our page, and we will have that information. If you need help registering to vote, we will have that information there as well. Mayra, well, thank you once again for your time, for giving us all this information. It is always a pleasure having you here and talking to you and listening to your story.
Thank you, Mac, and I hope that really the people of Arizona understand that this is not good for Arizona.
Exactly. Yes. And that's the message that we will continue to drive. This Proposition 139 is no good for Arizona. So thank you once again. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this message, and turn on your notifications, because we will continue to talk about this issue throughout the month, and you need to be aware of when new content becomes available to you. Thank you so much for listening. May God bless you.